Hello everybody, it is the Abstractionist. I'm here with Uranus, Solstice, Uranus, Solstice reading. Um, as I've stated in all the videos that I've uploaded since like June, I've basically been sick since June onward. So I got sick around my birthday, which is like the solstice, and then I'm just recovering from something else. So let's get into it. So this is for Uranus, people with significant Uranus transits or placements in their chart, oppositions, sextiles, whatever, squares, it doesn't matter to me. But significant Uranus placements. So yeah, this is the Voyager Tarot that I'm using. If you have Aquarius in your chart, the ruler, which is ruled by Uranus, then that's fine. But I just do by planet. I'm not a zodiac kind of person. I think this kind of just encompasses more lessons for people, and I just think that I just like this way better. Anyway, so this reading is for solstice onward, and basically going to be until about the fall, but some of that fall energy is already coming in, so you know it is. So I accept the guides, the ancestors, spirits, heart into the universe, come through. Let everything that comes through come through. Heart, space, and above. All the messages that come through, so the highest good of everyone involved. Yes. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Okay. I want this one to go first. So we have the star, which is great because this rules Uranus. See if you can see it. Then we have Woman of Crystals, keyword guardian. And then 10 of Cups, passion. So it's kind of funny that we go from like these really kind of cool colors and then like a burst of colors. So what's gonna happen for you guys is this actually already may have passed where you felt really kind of victorious and like everything came to the conclusion. It's almost like the end of a movie has already happened when it comes to the way that everything has played out. So with the star, you have the 6 of Wands. It's almost like you got your groove back, or like you proved something. It's like you guys in this video, I don't know why, but I'm getting like you're like younger, or the stuff that you're working through is when you were younger now. So I did a lot of inner child healing, and now I'm in the point of my life where I'm reflecting on high school, which is kind of interesting because the dynamics when you become like a teenager, usually you're a teenager at 13 and you're still kind of in middle school, but you're transitioning to go to high school, basically 13, 14, somewhere in there. And the lessons that you learn, you deal a lot with like you being, you know, pubescent now instead of prepubescent. All of the little things like clicks and expression and self-expression when it comes to like what you do as in your activities, your daily activities, and who you associate with, but also like your aesthetics and stuff like that. It's almost like you guys, so I also have my Venus in Taurus, so I'm a very tactile kind of person. I love art and design and interiors and stuff like that. So you guys also may be like me, my age, exploring those things, or you may have significant like Uranus, Venus aspects. My Uranus trines my Venus, but you guys may have like Uranus conjuncture Venus or something like that. Like it just feels like you've wrapped up some really good cycle, or your Venus conjunct Saturn, or Uranus conjunct Saturn or something like that, because it just feels like with this world card and this star card and then 2 of Worlds and 10 of Cups. Did I show you the universe card? This is the universe card that was for the Woman of Crystals, and then this is the 2 of Worlds. It just feels like these two, you started you finished everything and it's like a high, and then these two are like the two worlds lets me know that like you've reached the pinnacle of this cycle and then you're going to another cycle, and then we have devil's play. So it could be a lot of Saturnian stuff going on. You could be like myself going through a Saturn return. But I don't know. I don't feel like it's a Saturn return. I just feel like you have aspects in your chart that are like this. Like I kind of feel like a Uranus conjunct Saturn or something like that, or you're gonna meet someone who has that sort of aspect, or you could have a child that has that aspect and you're like dealing with watching them develop and grow up. So this could also be for parents who are watching their children develop in a way that you kind of starting to see their aesthetic kind of pop through, and it may be very surprising because what they were before was such a great hit with people, and now it's like the fullest expression of themselves may not be such a hit, and it could actually bring up some issues. It could bring up some issues for yourself if you have body issues. I know that a lot of parents, particularly the women, have body issues, and like I think part of the reason, I'm not gonna lie, that they have issues with their daughters when they become prepubescent and pubescent is not just the mood swings of the child, but I think the time period, that time period is usually when people are sexually active. That time period is usually when there's some sort of romantic relationship karma that starts to like creep in a little bit for the parents, and they can kind of see a little bit of which way their child is going, and they kind of have their own issues that are cropping up that may be unresolved. Like even though you're like 40 years old, you know, your 15-year-old child can bring up so many issues for you about when you were that age, and there could just be a little bit of release work that is needing to be done. But I do think it's more like the past and working on the past with this devil's play. You may be okay, so let me go back. There was this little video about it was somebody like kind of asking like, why is no one daring to be different, and then the response basically was kind of like, because whenever people are different, we tend to bully them or talk about them or exclude them or make them feel like they don't deserve to be here or stuff. Like we say we want different, but when we actually have someone different, it tends to be kind of weird for us. And so, you know, it gets kind of strained. The relationships become kind of strained. And usually when people are different and we have such adverse reactions, it's some aspect usually that they're expressing that we want to express. And we kind of are revolted by the fact that like they're able to live their life in such a way that doesn't, it's not that it doesn't attract detractors, but it doesn't kill the spirit of the person. Like when you see people and they're living in their truth and they're not beaten down by life, like the circumstances of people not liking them or the people kind of talking shit about them or starting rumors or something like that, it can kind of almost anger people. And it's almost like, why aren't you, I don't want to say as weak as I am, but why aren't you folding in like I am? Or what is it about you that doesn't have as many issues? You know what I'm saying? With being different or being an outsider or being outcast or being, you know, not picked or chosen to be the popular person, popular guy, girl, whatever. And those issues kind of really, I feel like they're kind of cropping up. And I think the North Node is in Taurus, so the North Node is in Venus, and then Uranus is kind of going through Taurus. And so I think these Venusian issues are going to come up a lot more. When Venus goes back in there, because I think Uranus is going to be there until at least 2025-ish, somewhere in there. So by the time Neptune also leaves Pisces, it'll be about time for it to switch signs, if I'm remembering correctly. So we go through a lot of stuff like that, and I've completely lost the other thought, but what I want to say is that the wrapping up the cycle and stuff like that is just preparing you for a new cycle, and aesthetics and But I think the time period when it comes to high school, when it comes to watching that sort of development or seeing yourself beyond that scope, I know for me it's been a really hard time to um, let these things go when it comes to high school, because my high school experience wasn't bad. It just um, for me, it was a really weird time emotionally, and I think that some of you guys may have a few lessons with regards to that. So, like I said, you could be relatively young. Um, Nine of Wands burden. So this could be like learning about social economic status when it comes to like being in a crowd. It may be the first time you kind of had to assess that. Nine of Wands could be like parents working hard, having to earn things when other people feel like, when it looks like other people are being given whatever they want. Just a lot of issues with that. So a lot of self-worth issues I think are being worked through with this North Node in Taurus, which is a great thing. Five of Crystals, negativity. I do think that all of us have some sort of resentment regarding looks or not being good enough or not being picked or chosen or being an outsider. I think also may be something to work through. And then kind of our mistrust of the in crowd, the mistrust of the people, the pretty people, or the people with status or whatever. So I think working through those issues would be really great for everybody, because the North Node is in Venus or Taurus. It's in Taurus, but the ruler of it is Venus. So I would work through those, especially with the Five of Crystals, because it could be something related to your wealth capacity or something like that that could push you forward. You know, like, and you could just release, I think, a lot of the judgment that you have of people in crowds or certain realms. And what is it about them that you're judging? Why are you judging them? Stuff like that. Do you feel judged by them? Those are a lot of questions that you have to work through, and I've definitely had to do those sort of questions. But I think it's really cool. We're in a really good aesthetic time. You got the High Priestess at the bottom of the deck. I think that this heightens your intuition when you're finding yourself and you're exploring these past things and you're becoming your true self, especially when it comes to aesthetics. Because yeah, there's everything's like, there's a lot of mass-produced stuff and things like that, but you get to learn that the clothes kind of feed into the essence of who you are. It's almost like the things that you surround yourself with when it regards to your makeup and your hair and all of this kind of stuff, like grooming your hair in a certain way, wearing certain makeup if you want to, wearing perfume if you want to, dressing in a certain way. It feeds into your aura and into your kind of like I don't want to say your CNS, central nervous system, but I kind of feel like it does feed that. It does feed your bones. It does feed your cells to all be moving towards the same goal and not having any disunity or disjointed kind of feeling, like one continuous aura, one continuous chemical block, or one continuous spiritual block that you like. The fewer holes you have in your system, the less things can fuck with you and the less things can derail you and deprive you of joy and stuff like that. And I think this is a really good time for that. Uranus, I think Aquarius doesn't rule the central nervous system, but it does, I think because Uranus is communication, stuff like that, I wouldn't be surprised if regulating your body, regulating yourself, getting into a good way of dealing with who you are would help and benefit you greatly of building your spiritual strength and spiritual power, because it creates a fortress. Having certainty of self is very great spiritually. It's a great spiritual defense. First and foremost, before any spray or powder or anything like that, knowing who you are and not being dissuaded from that so easily anyway. making conscious choices of when you want to change based on what new evidence has entered your experience. It's really great to know that you can make those changes, but it's really great to know that you can stand in your square and defend yourself and stand up for what you believe. And I think just showing up in the world how you want to show up in the world really is the greatest spiritual protection that you'll ever have, because you're not faking anything, you're not hiding anything. You've healed significantly to the point where, you know, what people say doesn't really matter and stuff like that. Like, that's a really great spiritual defense. So I would say work on that. You may also be starting to get spiritual insights and things like that. I know I have regarding Reiki, and it's a really great time. I also, this is just like an aside, I started using filters on like Instagram. I don't like upload them or whatever, but I screenshot the filters that I put on my face, particularly with the makeup, and I've loved how the makeup has made me look. And you know, I know there's a lot of issues when it comes to body dysmorphia and people using filters and then not feeling as attractive, but I don't know, like, I kind of feel like I understand that the public would be looking at me and looking at the filter and be like, these could look like two totally different people, but it motivates me, the aesthetic beauty that I like, to kind of go for it, you know? Kind of go for the makeup look that the filter has, because it looks fucking nice. Like, let's see what that really looks like in the 3D real world. Like, another thing you guys may have to explore is like virtual reality, and do you match up to like this virtual reality version of yourself, and where's the gap in the divide, and do you want that gap in the divide? Are you okay with that? Are you okay with having your avatar look a certain way and you looking perhaps totally different? These are issues that you may want to explore in the next coming months or weeks or whatever, days, hours, I don't care. But yeah, like, those issues are coming up. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say. And with regards to like the online element, I know I was watching Cosmic Universe. I know it's a video from a while ago, like 3 or 4 years ago when I first started watching tarot. And I remember when she was saying that when Uranus or something like that entered, I don't think it was Taurus, I think it was Cancer, that the way that we perceive ourselves online and offline could be the beginning of having two different consciousness. Like, who you are online and who you are in person are very different, and perhaps that is something that some of you guys are dealing with, having an online persona and then feeling imposter syndrome and wanting to kind of merge the two. And maybe you don't have to. Maybe your online thing is your online thing and your personal life is your personal life. And, you know, a lot of people use online personas to move ahead, particularly when they're artists, singers, dancers, things like that. And who they are when you get to know them is very real, raw, and vulnerable. But sometimes having an online persona of confidence really helps. As long as I think you don't feel broken inside, I think it really can be a great thing and a positive thing. So that's all I have for you guys for Uranus, June solstice, until the next reading I do. You got the Man of Wands, and the top part is actor. So I guess be an actor. Why not? Why not? You know? You can give as true and authentic a performance as that character allows. And you don't have to be two drastically different people. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be, you know, a complete bitch in real life and be an angel in your online persona. That's not what it is. It could just be, there's a certain part of you that gets enhanced and shown, and an aspect shown, and that's great. For online and in person, it may not be so apparent, but that essence, that beauty essence is still shining through. Either way, they're just taking different forms, and you're stepping into the roles as you see fit for the environment. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Take care. Bye.